Yo, this is WSoul13 bringing you Raid Shadow Legends. Today, we are going to be going through my version of Brognimancer, and I think it's one of the coolest kind of like F2P low spender team build you can do, if you've been participating in the fusion events the past, I don't know, 6 months maybe-ish. So for the year, right? This is on Brutal, right? And the team can 2 or 3 key Ultra Nightmare, 1 key Nightmare, and then 1 key Brutal. And everything is done on auto, right? And also, there's no need to swap gear or change speeds. Everyone's going to be running the same speed. So it's kind of one of these like really convenient builds. So let's take a look right now. What's going on? Right? So I chose today to do this video because I was able to do just that. I was able to 2 key right there. 2 key Ultra Nightmare. Also, I was able to 1 key hard with pretty insane damage, honestly. 64 mil, that's pretty crazy. And then I'm also able to 1 key brutal, right? So why is the team so good? Well, because Brognimancer is freaking dope, right? Caveats. All right, let's get that out of the way. First of all, against Void Affinity, the comp isn't going to perform as well, right? So one of the things that make Brognimancer so good is every time any of your guys get hit, they have a chance to put out Giant Slayer because of their skill sets. And against Void Affinity, you're only getting hit once during the AoE, which is the source of the Brognimancer damage. It's going to be cut in half, basically, in Void Affinity, which kind of sucks, but that's just the way it is. So the damage potential goes significantly lower if you're a Void Affinity, which is fine because most people do want to fight Void Affinity. So you're going to be one of these people that are going to be fighting the other affinities, which is great. So every other affinity, perfectly fine. Even Spirit. So the build covers the decreased speed of Spirit. And it's really, really good. And it's very fun to run because you're just clicking start battle. And that's it. Put your phone down or you walk away from your computer, you'd be like, voila. So what is the team comp? That's what we'll be doing today. Of course, let's go after the namesake, right? Brognimancer. So it's Brogni, Underpriest Brogni, and Geomancer, right? So Underpriest Brogni, potentially the best fusion champ they've done in a while. I think he's up there as possibly the best fusion champ ever. There's Rotos, there's Tormund, So there are people champs that compete with him, but he's just so good, dude. He is amazing. And I haven't even built him with, I see some people build him with Stalwart set. He's not even like optimally built. And he's already putting in work for me. All right. So what is the key with Underpriest Brogni? All right. So in my opinion, Brognimancer is basically the basic version. Of Brognimancer is Brogni, and then Geomancer, and then your third champ has to be a buff extension champ. That's what makes, I think, Brognimancer a thing, So it's not the Infinity comp, which is you're going to be extending the buff indefinitely. It is a traditional clan team, basic clan boss team. You're going to be doing decreased attack, you're going to be doing increased defense, ally protect, all the good stuff, right? So, let's talk about the stats first, right? Stats first. Your stat range is gonna be, I think, 171 speed to 179 speed. I haven't put this in a calculator, but that is the speed I'm going for. So you want your Underpriest Brogni, I think, to go last, right? Yeah, did I get that right? Yeah. You want Underpriest Brogni to go last. And then you want your buff extender to go first. I'm actually not sure if it makes a difference if Brogni went last or not. I'm trying to think. If he went last, then I'll have 2, 1, and 2. Yeah, I think it's better if he goes last, honestly. But yeah, with a buff extender, you'll be able to cover all 3 rounds, reset, and then Underpriest Brogni gets back to his skill, which is the most important part of Underpriest Brogni, right? And it's his A3. His A3 has a 3-turn cooldown. I think this is the only one you really need to book for this particular version of Brognimancer. Some versions may need, I think, this one to be booked down as well, because it's relying on A2 to extend those shield buffs. So that's, I think, the Infinity version of Brognimancer. This version, the standard Brognimancer, you just need 2 books to hit this skill. That's it, right? So if you get lucky there, then you're great. It brings it down to a 3-turn cooldown. You're going to be able to put block, debuffs, and shield on with increased attack. I mean, increased attack is always good to have, but not really the most important thing here. What I really want here is block, debuffs, and the shield. So the shield is important because every time you get hit by an attack, if you're under a shield that is placed by Brognimancer, it says here under a shield buff, so I guess any shield. I'm not sure about that. So I'm not sure with all the specifics of the skills. So bear with me on that one. 25% of the damage inflicted is reflected back to the attacker. Not a big deal, right? Against clan boss, I mean, that's not a lot of damage. And then it also heals the ally of 25% of the damage inflicted with the shield, right? So that same damage you reflect back, it comes back as heals. But wait, this effect somehow, some way triggers Giant Slayer. Yes, it's ridiculous. So, Giant Slayer. 30% chance of inflicting a bonus damage when attacking. The bonus damage is equal to 7.5% of target champion's max HP, or 3% of the max HP when attacking bosses. Bonus damage can occur on each hit of a skill, but does not count as an extra hit. For some reason, the game interprets this passive as an attack. I don't know if that's a thing, but yeah, it triggers Giant Slayer. And you get hit twice by the slam, AoE, times all your guys, so that's 10 reflects back. All 10 of those reflects can trigger Giant Slayer. So the damage piles up. It's pretty insane. I have him on Lifesteal set and Immortal set. I think he is... Let me see. See the gear real quick. Defense, Amulet and Ring, HP Banner. And then I have him on Defense Boots, HP Percentage, Chest, and Gloves. Right? So yeah. I'm building him for 170 speed, 86,000 HP. Crit rate, you don't really need crit rate for this version of Underpriest Brogni. Honestly, you don't even need accuracy either. So he does have things that land accuracy with, which is the HP burn on his A1, but it's not as important. Honestly, it does damage output, so you don't really need crit damage, in my opinion, or crit rate. So you just want him to survive, which is why some people have been building with Stalwart gear, which makes perfect sense, because majority of his healing is going to come from his passive, not really his hits with Lifesteal. But yeah, he's really, really strong. Really, really strong. He's good everywhere in the game. Of course, you can bring him Doom Tower. You can bring him anywhere in the game. He's going to do well for you. But for this particular team, in Clan Boss, he is the man, and he covers you with your buff extension for all 3 rounds of the clan boss. You're going for one for the clan boss. In Ultra Nightmare, you're gonna miss the first turn. So the first turn is gonna be a slam by the clan boss, which in all affinities basically does nothing. It's all damage. And then on the second turn, he's gonna put his block debuffs up and shield, right? So the next one we're gonna be looking at is my boy Geomancer. Oh, I think I haven't even 60 Geomancer yet. No, I have not. There we go. He's the second piece of Brognimancer. Geomancer, you do need his accuracy up. So I have him on Perception Set just to get that accuracy close to 300. So for, I think, Ultra Nightmare, you want over 250, I think is the number. Or is it 220? Something like that. So you do need a lot of accuracy for Ultra Nightmare. And then I'm jacking up his HP and a little bit of defense. So defense is at 3k-ish, 2955. HP, 47k. Probably want that over 50k. So yeah, not the perfect build. There's some improvements, like the helm's not 16 yet, so that's a thing maybe I can work on later on. We'll see. And of course, the speed has to be within 171 to 179, right? So he's at 173. Mastery is the same thing. It's Giant Slayer, so it's the same. Show you the masteries right there. So it's the same as Brogni, I think. I think they have the same masteries, if I'm not mistaken. Do they? No, I think for Brogni, I don't remember. Did I put him on defense? We'll look back later. So why is Geomancer so freaking good, right? Why is Geomancer so good? Well, he is good because of this. Quicksand Grasp, right? This places an HP burn and weaken, books up to 100% chance, and you need the cooldown, so you're gonna have to book this skill down in particular to make Brognimancer work. The reason why that HP burn is important is if the boss is under, or an enemy is under HP burn, 15% of the damage is deflected back to the enemy. That's it. It also triggers Giant Slayer. So yeah, and you get a 25% HP aura, which is pretty cool. You know, it's actually pretty good. I do use the HP aura because there have been a lot of discoveries about clan boss recently. The A1 is just decreased accuracy. So it's not really a big deal. So you really focus more on the A3 is what makes this guy good, right? So there has been a lot of recent discoveries about clan boss. One of them is the kind of the threshold you need for defense, right? So if you have ally protection and increase defense buff on, I think the number is actually closer to 2700 instead of, I think it was the recommendation was 3500, I think, for unkillable before. For Ultra Nightmare before, you know. So, yeah, I've been just keeping my champs closer to 3k defense, and I've been able to produce those amazing numbers. I mean, there's damage mitigation, of course, in this team. There's the shield from Brogni, and then there's Geomancer's 15% reflect thingy. I think that takes damage away, right? I'm actually not sure about that one, but yeah, he deals a lot of damage. Yeah, they deal a lot of damage together. Him and Underpriest Brogni. And then the third component of the team has got to be a debuff buff extender. So that's going to be Sandlash Survivor, right? So you need to book this A2 down, right? Sandlash is amazing because she brings this, which is ally protect and block damage on her, ally protect everybody else. It is on a 5-turn cooldown at first, and you can book that down to 4 turns. So it's not the best, and it's You can't trigger it on purpose. So it only happens when an ally's HP drops below 50%, which is it's going to come in later in the game, in the fight. So the fights in, I think, Ultra Nightmare for me right now typically last around 40 turns-ish, right? And ally protection with increased defense is amazing in Clan Boss. It's kind of like proven to be one of the greatest damage mitigation. So everybody's already done the number crunching, and if you're still on the fence about it, well, you just saw my numbers, right? And the crazy part is the gear I have on is pretty modest. It's not even the most amazing gear. So you're looking at 46k HP on this one, 3600 defense, and 179 speed. So you want Sandlash Survivor to go first. If you put it on auto, he will not do the buff extension first. You can also program that in, but in my experience, I haven't programmed it in, and he just doesn't do it. So he waits for buffs to be put on, then he'll do the A2, right? So Sandlash Survivor, really, really strong. Masteries is, I think I picked defense. I picked defense, and I'm have him going down a War Master, right? So just makes him a little bit harder to kill. So, what are the remaining ingredients you want in a Brognimancer team? So we already have Brognimancer. So, Brogni gives you block debuff, which is great. Not incredibly necessary for most standard Clan Boss teams, but it's very, very good to have. Very, very good to have. That way you don't have to worry about the decreased speed and the stuns, right? The other one is Ally Protect, so that's being brought in by Sandlash Survivor, but that's also good to have. And then you want increased defense, of course. And then since it's a traditional Clan Boss team, we're not going unkillable, and it's not the Infinity version of Brognimancer, we will need decreased attack. So the other cool thing too, I just want to mention this real quick. Geomancer, he does do something that really helps against the affinity bosses. So when you shift off Void Affinity, all the bosses will get this increased attack buff, right? And he has a move that removes buffs from an enemy. So you take that increased attack buff away, which is really, really good, right? It's really, really good. It helps with damage mitigation, obviously, right? So how did I fill in those last few roles? Well, instead of having a dedicated decreased attack champ, I decided to go with a little defense boost in Iron Brago. Iron Brago, another fusion champ, hopefully you guys did not miss this guy. He is amazing, right? One of the best champs they've offered out as a fusion champ. So 175 speed, 100% crit rate. You want him dealing damage. Mine has 200% crit damage. HP is a little thin, 35k. That could be a lot higher, but the defense is very solid, 4800 on that defense. And then, of course, I have Death Ring, crit damage neck. Is this a Death banner? And then I think I have crit damage gloves, Death chest, and Death boots. Yep. Both 5-star, unfortunately. So those are kind of points that can be upgraded down the line. These are really solid rolls though. So, I'm not super eager. But I think the chest could be better, We'll see if I get a better chest down the line. But yeah, right now, that's the best I can build him with. And why do we want Iron Brago? Well, we're looking for that increased defense, right? He gives the increased defense. It's a 3-turn duration on a 3-turn cooldown, so it's practically on the whole time, plus the buff extension. So there's no way you're going to be losing out on that increased defense. For the whole fight, you'll have it. And then the reason why Brago is so strong in Clan Boss is because he gives 10% of his def to everybody else on the team. So everybody gets a free 480 def boost, which means I don't need to put a increased def aura champ as the leader. I can put Geomancer as the leader. Everybody gets a free 25% extra HP. And then here is where the decreased attack comes in. Also places a 50% decreased attack debuff on all enemies for 2 turns if Iron Brago is under increased def. That's it. So he'll put that on, and you're just hoping that the decreased attack stays on long enough to finish the fight. So what about masteries? What am I looking for in masteries? In masteries, I have him on defense and offense, right? Just going down to War Master. I think almost all my guys have Life Drinker. So Life Drinker is really good to keep everybody alive. I think everybody is on Lifesteal set. And then the final member of the team is Fane. Where is our lovely lady Fane? So this is where the damage potential of the team comes in, right? Where did I put Fane? There she is. Hello there, my little mouse friend. So Fane is a really strong clan boss champ. So one of the biggest criticisms on Fane that I never really bought into, but everybody kind of bought into it, is that her base defense was so low, 727 base defense. So that is horrible, honestly. That is a pure trash of a defense, of a base defense, right? And one of the biggest criticisms about her was that, well, she's strong, like her kid is amazing, it's good for clan boss, but no one's going to use her outside of unkillable. You know, the way I see the game is that it's not about just what they can do now, but what they can potentially do in the future. So Fane is somebody I looked at, and I thought to myself, if they would release champs down the line that would mitigate damage, you know, maybe she can fit in an actual just standard clan boss team. I mean, why not, right? And with all the recent discoveries on like Ally Protect, increased defense as a buff, and how good they are for clan boss, and then Iron Brago, of course, right? The passive with the increased def auras, all that stuff. I came up with a pretty modest Fane build. So this is my DPS, this is my damage champ. 3,400 attack, 32,000 health, you know, not amazing. Defense, 2,500, just a little bit under 2,500, 175 speed. Crit rate's 95 and 218 crit damage. So let's see how we came up with that build. So I have a crit damage gloves, yeah. Def chest, speed boots. And then I got, I think this is defense, crit damage, and defense. So she does need a little bit more HP, a little bit more defense, right? But these are the best rolls I came up with for her in particular. It's very hard to build damage dealing champs in a standard clan boss team because you want that 100% crit rate, you want 200+% crit damage, you want a lot of attack or whatever main stat they use to do their damage with. On top of that, you're gonna need defense, you know, at least 3,000-ish for most cases, right? So it's kind of hard to build. Mine's only at 2,500 defense. She is the first one to die, obviously. But she does last a long time, usually over 40 turns in my experience. Why is she so good? Well, first of all, I think she prioritizes this in her AI, which is fine. It's a really strong skill. What it does is attacks enemies 3 times, and it puts decreased defense and weaken on, right? So the first hit puts decreased defense on, the second hit puts the weaken on, and the third hit gives an extra heal for every debuff that's on the target. So it's a really good, it's a really strong move. Keeps you alive with lifesteal, obviously, just from the raw damage, you know. So she's gonna deal a lot of damage on her own. And why the team works is I have two decrease attack champs, which is Fein and then Brago. The decreased attack from Fein is 100% chance of hitting. So I think Brago's is only a, was it 75%? Let's take a quick look. If it's 75 for Brago, I'm actually not sure about that. Where my boy Brago at? So it's also places. 50% chance of placing provoke. So actually, I don't understand how to read that. If the decreased attack is 100% chance to place or no. It might be 75% chance is how I'm reading that. So let's take a look. Where's Fein at? Anyways, and then I have her on Warmaster, and then the debuff extension on the support tree. So I end up at Maxer Hexer on the support tree. And then I could probably have picked up Lore of Steel, honestly. That might help with the speed and all the other stats. Maybe. Well, maybe I'll retool her to have that on instead later on. But yeah, Fein, really strong. So how would you build this if you were doing this? So Brago isn't really mandatory for the team. Obviously, you can build without Brago. The buff extension is mandatory, right? So ideally, you did fuse Brogni, and then second, hopefully, you paid the 40 ancient shards to get Geomancer guaranteed, which they did, I think, a couple months ago. So that's your first two pieces. Your third piece is the buff extension. That could actually be Valerie. Where my girl Valerie at? Yeah. Valerie has a buff extension. Increases buff duration on all allies by 1 turn. Also decreases duration of debuffs for 1 turn. And then you get the weak sauce, increase attack, which you don't really need because Brogni already puts on the better one. She'll also put on the shield, extra shield. It's not really that good. Honestly, you're basically just using her for this. So yeah, there is a guaranteed way to get your buff extender. Obviously, she's not going to be as strong as Sandlash or Godseeker or Eerie. Yeah. But Valerie is an option. And then for Fein, instead of Fein, any decreased defense champ is going to work. Right? So Rosin obviously is one of the big ones because, you know, Rosin is amazing, right? And this can go down to 3-turn cooldown, very strong, and a fusion champ, so you're kind of guaranteed to get one. The other one that actually could work as well is Ninja. The only thing with Ninja is this turn meter boost, so you may need to put that through a calculator to make sure he doesn't go out of sync. And it doesn't lose those buffs, you know, but whatever. Pretty sure you could work something out, right? But yeah, he deals a lot of damage with his Hail Burn, and then he gets a lot more damage from his escalation passive over time in Clan Boss. Yeah, he's guaranteed to last 40 plus turns if you do the Brognimancer build with him, and his A1 can put the decreased defense on, right? And it can go up to a, 60%, 65 with Sniper. Really, really strong champ, right? In the decreased defense department. So that gives you a lot of extra damage. And then the biggest one, really, that you'll need to fill is the decreased attack roll. So that roll is kind of hard to fill because you want decreased attack and you want increased defense still. So we're still missing the increased defense, right? So the best one is probably Sepulcher, right? Sepulcher Sentinel. just the decrease attack on that A1, right? And she can put it on over and over again. I think it goes up to what? 50, 60% chance plus sniper 65% chance, yeah. And then she puts on the increased defense and another block debuff. You don't really need that, but yeah. Really, really strong right there. So that's the only thing. There really isn't a free-to-play kind of like free-to-play friendly champ, really, that does decrease attack, you know. So the other one you could be looking at is something like Coffin Smasher, you know. The only thing with Coffin Smasher is you don't get increased defense. So you're going to have to make do with a 5% damage mitigation passive, you know. Not amazing, but something. And also, you could probably take out the decreased defense for increased defense, but you're going to be drastically lowering the power level of the team. You're probably going to end up maybe like forking Ultra Nightmare if you're going to depower the champs, you know. I haven't really built any of these guys with that in mind, but yeah, it's possible, I think. It's just going to be, you're going to be drastically reducing the power level. And the way I built the team is there are some clear upgrades, obviously, right? So I can get a better decrease attack champ. Like, I think Altan would probably do really good here instead of Brago, right? Yeah, he puts on the increased defense and the decreased attack. And the decreased attack is going to be a lot more reliable because it's going to be on the A1. What else? Maybe like a counter attack champ, you know. Somebody like Martyr would probably be really good. Stuff like that. So it's not like fully optimized, but it's really, really strong. And the thing I like about the build is it's the same speed for Ultra Nightmare, Nightmare, and Brutal, except Void Affinity. It's not going to perform as well in Void Affinity, but all the other affinities is going to do well. And it's capable of 2 to 3 keys on Ultra Nightmare, and then 1 key on Nightmare and 1 key on Brutal. So if you get your 2 key on Ultra Nightmare, you can get 6 chests in one day, you know, 2 each of Brutal, Nightmare, and Ultra Nightmare. It's really, really good. It's a really, really good build. So I hope you guys found that useful. It's going to be paired with my Reddit guide on this, so we'll see you all next time. All right.